Okay, we are here to discuss about the importance of paragraph in an essay or in any form of writing. And today we are going to listen to Christoph. And then he's from Germany, but anyway, let him introduce himself. Please, can you go on?
So, hello Professor, hello class. Welcome to my presentation. Today I'm going to present to you what even is a paragraph. It sounds like a fairly easy topic, but it's a key concept to understand the basic unit of writing an essay or a term paper. So please listen, be prepared, take out your notes, and I will present to you why a paragraph is so important and what even is a paragraph. So as the professor said, that's me, but I don't want to bother you too long with this. I'm Christoph Dörr from Frankfurt, Goethe University. I'm now an exchange student, and hope you will enjoy my little presentation. I'm going to walk you through the agenda right now. We first begin with the definition of a paragraph to set the whole framework for the presentation. After it, we're gonna look at how we can structure a paragraph, and I'm gonna show you a framework how to organize a paragraph and how to write a good paragraph at all. It's called the Peel framework. It will be very important to recognize for you for your next term paper or study. After that, we're gonna look into a few types of paragraphs. There are a lot of paragraphs. I'm gonna explain 4 different types, in more detail, and I brought some other types for you to recognize. After that, we're gonna talk about the importance of paragraphs, and I'm gonna do some troubleshooting or tell you some common problems which students have with paragraphs in writing. Okay, so let's start with the definition first. A paragraph is a short part of a text consisting at least one sentence and beginning on a new line. It usually deals with a single event, description, idea, etc. That comes from the Cambridge Dictionary, and that's an official definition I gave you here. We try to organize what we write into different sentences and paragraphs. A paragraph always begins on a new line within the text, and there's often a blank line between different paragraphs. Usually a paragraph can contain 3 to 8 sentences or more. We just have to look out that the paragraph is not too short and not too long, because the reader can lose focus or doesn't get the key point. It's usually about one topic, and you don't jump between different topics within the paragraph, and it helps the writer to organize their ideas and their arguments, and it also helps the reader to understand the thinking of the writer in a more better way. We also use the concept of paragraphs in legal text. I think you all have seen this, but we don't want to focus on legal text on today's agenda. Okay, so we start with the structure. I like to paint a picture in your head. You should have imagined the paragraphs like different building blocks. You see on the left side, I build the blocks and then I get a full tower. So each section of a text consists of a paragraph that is one building block, and it gives the whole text, the whole essay, the whole term paper a structure and organizes the ideas in a really, really good way. So the first thing we're gonna start is the topic sentence. It's the most important thing in a paragraph because it sets the topic or the focus of the following paragraph, and it helps the reader to understand and categorize the text that follows after our topic sentence. The topic sentence is usually at the first sentence or the beginning of the paragraph, but it also can appear within the paragraph, but that's not the common thing. So when we finished our topic sentence, we will develop a supporting or developing sentence, which is like the main part of a paragraph. And it mostly delivers like an answer, a definition, or an explanation to our focus we just set in the topic sentence. So you bring like the arguments to the reader. So at the end, like the last block of a paragraph would be the concluding or transition sentence. And yeah, it kind of sums up all the things you said in the paragraph and all the information that you provided. And yeah, it ensures a smooth transition to the next paragraph. So we have like a connecting text, and it's like the text connects really smoothly, and the reader understands when you start a new argument or a new paragraph. Okay, as I told you, I wanted to give you a like framework how to work with paragraphs or how to develop a good paragraph. It's called the Peel framework. I think it's quite famous. We have PEL. The first P, it stands for point. So you have to start making a good starting point at the beginning, so the reader knows what the paragraph would be about. After that, we have the E, the evidence. Now break up the point with evidence, examples, and facts. You have to provide information to the reader, because if you don't provide information, the paragraph would be useless for the reader. The other E is explanation. So you just provided evidence, examples, or facts. So now you have to explain how these facts are contributing to the point you made at the start. I think that should be really clear. Link, it's like the transition sentence. You have to link the point made in the paragraph to the next paragraph and sum the information all up. So please remember this framework when like writing a good paragraph. It's really important. I told you about the different types of paragraph. I think these are the like 4 most important types of paragraphs. It's called the expository, descriptive, narrative, and persuasive. So I'm gonna start with the expository. The expository paragraph explains something or provides instruction to the reader. It could also describe like a process, like if you're watching something, you can describe the process of something happening with an expository paragraph. It often requires research and facts that should deliver sufficient arguments to the reader. We're next going to focus on the descriptive paragraph. The descriptive paragraph describes something, as it's already said. The words chosen in the descriptive paragraph mostly appeal like to your senses, like to your sight, to your ears, to your smelling, to your tasting. Like if I'm gonna describe to you that like in front of me is like a really delicious cake with a red strawberry on it. It smells really fresh and it's like really hot, coming right out of the oven. You see, I'm using keywords that like stimulate my senses, so I can paint a picture in the head of the reader. Yeah, as I said, the descriptive paragraphs can also be like really artistic, if you like. We're gonna move on now to the narrative paragraph. The narrative paragraph tells a story to our reader. So there's a sequence of action and clear beginning, middle, and end part of the paragraph. So we have like a curve. It starts at the beginning, then we get the reader excited to the like turning point, and then we like smooth it out. Yeah. In some cases, the paragraph should make the reader really curious for the next paragraph. The last type I brought to you is the persuasive paragraph, and it tries to explain a particular point or like a view of the writer. Like if you have a different position or an argument that you want to state as a writer, you mostly use a persuasive paragraph. And it's, in my opinion, the most important paragraph when we look at academic writing or term papers, because the persuasive paragraph tries to prove an argument or to prove a point. So you have to do good research and collect facts and arguments that you bundle into the paragraph to prove your point. So there are some further types of paragraph. I won't explain them as detailed now, but if you are interested, you should do your own research in this. We have also like a paragraph that compares or shows a contrast between topics. We can also like criticize something in a paragraph. It's called a critique paragraph. We can also like explain to the reader some cause or effects of something. That is also a different kind of paragraph. Also, and also a very important type is the personal narrative, because you can always bring like your own point of view or your own side, the like writer's own side, into a term paper or whatever. So now, why I'm telling you all this? Paragraph are really important in writing. Like, you use it in every form of writing. It's there for maybe logic. Organize your ideas and thoughts logically. Also, it's for understanding the writer better. Readers should can follow the ideas of the writer better, in a better way, and at the end getting to a conclusion. Also, we use different paragraphs to break down a large variety of information into manageable chunks. If I give you all the information at one time, you won't be able to process all the information. But if it break it down into manageable chunks, you get all the information like bit after bit after bit, and you will be able to understand it really, really much better. So the last thing is to give the whole text a structure. If we don't use paragraphs, the text would be just like one plain text, and you cannot understand what the paragraph is about, or when I'm starting a new argument or a new topic. So paragraphs help to structure the text. So I'm going to talk now about some common problems that occur when students are talking about paragraphs or trying to write a good paragraph. So the first one would be like, we have no clear topic or focus point. I think that's the main problem what appears when thinking about paragraphs, because if you don't set a focus point, there's like no need to have a paragraph. You should like set the focus point right at the beginning, so the reader can follow your overall structure by reading the first line or first sentence of each paragraph. The second problem is that the paragraph is too long. Like, if you have too many sentences in your paragraph, you often tend to like switch or jump between different topics or different arguments, and the reader like easily loses your focus or cannot understand your arguments or the facts that you are providing. The third biggest problem is that the paragraph is too short. Like, maybe try to integrate another argument into the paragraph or expand your arguments, so you don't have a lack of information. Because if you have a lack of information inside the paragraph, you cannot prove your argument or you cannot prove your position, and that's not good, because you will lose the reader will not believe you maybe anymore. So I think that's the most important things to know about paragraphs. Thank you for your attention, and I will now give it back to the professor, and I hope there will be some interesting questions.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, now you start from the beginning so that we start where the question will start. Okay, so first of all, anybody any question before I start? No, you can't. Any question?
So,
Okay.
Christoph, tell me your own opinion, Christoph. What helps you why do paragraphs helps us to make like the essay, writing easier to read?
Okay, so that's a really
Why,
good
why
question.
do paragraphs make essays easier to read, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's a really good question. I think paragraphs are the basic and most minimal structure an essay could have, because like the whole essay is like contains paragraphs. It's made out of different paragraphs, and we just use the paragraphs to split our topics and arguments and like make it visible for the reader of which topic we are talking about now. So we organize our ideas and thoughts in a more easy to read way for the reader. So I think paragraph is like a basic concept of writing, and that's why it's so important for us to know the concept. Sure.
Okay.
Maybe I should start the presentation again.
Because I wanted to use
Yes. No.
Oh, okay, right. So, can you explain this, your statements here?
Yeah.
Tell us more about it.
Okay, so I'm gonna write it out, read it out again. We organize what we write into sentences and paragraphs. A paragraph begins on a new line within the text, and it's often a blank line between the paragraph. A paragraph usually contains 3 to 8 sentences, and it's usually about one topic, and it helps to organize ideas. In legal text, we mark a new paragraph with the following symbol. So that's like my own explanation of paragraphs. I put it there so we have like a more expanded definition than the one from Cambridge Dictionary. It just says that like one paragraph contains of like 3 to 8 sentences. It doesn't need to be too short, and it can be too long. And it's the sentences within the paragraph should be about one topic. So as I said, the focus point should be clear, and we should only focus on the topic we set at the beginning. If we look at a text or at a book, at an academic paper, we often see like a blank line, so the reader can get like a visual confirmation that the paragraph is now over and we are starting a new paragraph.
Oh, wonderful. So, what if you are writing about PhD dissertation paper, a
Yeah.
longer essay?
Yes.
Does it apply also?
Yes, it applies also. We can like apply it to every text we write. As I said, it's a basic concept, and I think especially in like a PhD paper or in like a term paper, it's like necessary. We cannot leave out paragraphs. You must use paragraph in like an academic paper, because if you don't, I think you won't get a good grade at the end.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, then, what's the next slide? Topic about structure. So, can you explain the block and the? I noticed that you use different color. What does that mean? Can you explain to us?
Yes, I just used a different color to like visualize that every part of the paragraphs should be different. Like you should know in which sentence you are right now. So we first start with the topic sentence. Like in this case, it's like the light blue, the lightest blue. And if you finish the topic sentence, you just like add the next sentence, like the more darker blue, the developing sentence or supporting sentence. And if you finish this sentence, you go over to the transition sentence, which is the darkest blue. And yeah, I used the different colors here to like visualize for you that we have like the own structure within a paragraph.
Okay, in other words, topic sentence. After that, you start introducing each topic of different idea you are trying to explain in that particular essay.
Yes.
And then in each paragraph, there is supposed to be a linking statement to the next. And then after that to the next, that is why it is called, there should be a unity in the essay if you are writing an essay. The unity means, do you know what unity means in an essay? Can anybody explain? Imagine that this is following this structure now, and the topic is about, let me continue to use my normal topic, a good teacher. The topic is a good teacher. So can you use this structure to explain what is the meaning of unity in an essay? Unity in an essay.
I think that unity means that the essay, there are always references which to the things that are written before, and that everything in the whole is like an image, and there is like a streamline throughout the essay.
Yeah, okay. So in other words, if the topic is about a good teacher, so the entire essay, the entire paragraph is directing towards that particular topic. Yes. It cannot deviate from any other thing. For example, imagine that in this case, this is a topic sentence. Are you there? For example, this is a topic sentence, and you are writing an essay about a good teacher. You mention, let's say, 2 qualities of a good teacher. So the implication is that in this introductory part, you'll be able to list the 2 qualities of a good teacher that you want to tell us. Then this is the first quality. Let's say a good teacher is hardworking. And then this is the next quality. Let's say a good teacher is intelligent. So then this becomes the ending to conclude the entire essay. Is that clear? So that's why I'm very happy, and I love this different colors, because each paragraph must be demonstrating a new idea. So here, do you remember the idea here in the first paragraph?
Yeah.
What is it?
Like, what is a good teacher, and the good teacher is hardworking.
Yeah, so you are trying to introduce what the good qualities that you would like to talk about. You have to announce it in the introductory paragraph. You see, they give the text this structure and help is organizing ideas, because once you announce the qualities you want, because there are so many qualities, there are many qualities of a good teacher. But here, you are just writing your essay, maybe only 1 page, maybe 2 pages. So now you have to announce and introduce and then proclaim the particular qualities. If there are 2, if there are 3, if there are 4, then you are announcing it. Then the next paragraph is to look at the topic sentence. If this is the topic, I'm talking about the topic sentence here. So the next paragraph, for instance, would be to talk about one of the qualities that you have announced. I'm just giving an example. Then, after that, the next one would be another quality that you have announced. Hello? Yeah. Are you there? Do you have any question about that? Then the next one will be the conclusion. So he put it very well in. Actually, in this column, the first thing, according to him, is paragraph, the book is trying to explain what is paragraph. From this is the example. He tries to explain what is paragraph, and then tries to say that you start with topic sentence, and then after the topic sentence, supporting sentences, and then concluding sentence. Hello? Is that clear? Any question about this particular area? Do you have any question? You have not asked anything. Okay, next slide.
Yeah, that's the slide about
Point,
framework.
evidence, explanation, and link.
Yes. Link to the next.
Yes. So this is a very wonderful way of we call it the way you have just given abbreviation in order to get it clear is very, very nice. Point. Make a good starting point, just exactly what I just explained a moment ago. Make a good starting point, that's what you use the word point, and then use the same different colors. Very nice. Make a good starting point at the beginning of the paragraph. Remember what I said earlier, a good starting point. Very, very important. Remember I used the example of a good teacher, right? And a good teacher, you mentioned the qualities you want to talk about. You have to announce it in the starting, the introductory paragraph. Then here, back up the point with the evidence example. Correct. Then you are trying to, since you have mentioned it, you try to list all the qualities in each paragraph by saying why a good teacher is hardworking. You have to explain in that particular paragraph. Then if you are saying that a good teacher is very intelligent, you have to explain why in another paragraph. A good teacher is very hardworking. You have to explain again in a different paragraph. So then we now conclude. Okay, so your question, because you are not answering. Okay.
You explained everything very well, so
Okay, you explained everything very well for you.
I understand everything.
Okay, so next. Wonderful. Types of paragraphs. It's not just that we have paragraphs, there are types. And he explained it very well. I don't know what to add there again. Expository paragraph. The expository paragraph explains something or provides instruction. It could also describe a process. This type of paragraph often requires research from the writer to deliver sufficient arguments. This is German English, and then this is African accent. So you have read it clearly before, so I just want to repeat it again in my own accent. So, you see, expository paragraph. Imagine if you're writing about, you want to talk about the train station in Germany, and you want to just to introduce it, you have to expose what you intend. You get that? Okay, now the other one is about descriptive paragraph, because paragraph, not just paragraph, you have to describe. In this case, it's a descriptive. Describes something. The words chosen in the description often appeal to the five senses to create a picture. Descriptive paragraph can be artistic. What do you mean by artistic?
Like artistic, I mean, like if you read a book, the paragraph wouldn't be like really like scientific, but if I mean with artistic, you can like add more details to a paragraph, or use like different adjectives to describe a thing like more better that the reader can imagine it more clearly. So if I describe something, I can like deviate from the scientific words or from the scientific speech. So I have like a clear picture in the reader's
Yeah, you should use words that the reader will captivate the reader, just like a book. The way you are using your words, the way you are describing the scene, would be so nice that the person reading it will be eager. You are drawing the person inside you are writing.
Yes, I mentioned the example of the cake. I think you remember. And if I mentioned this example, our audience wants to eat cake right now. So that would be like the goal.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, narrative paragraph. This tells a story to the reader. There is a sequence of action, or there is a clear beginning, middle, and end to the paragraph. In some cases, the paragraph should make the reader curious. This is narrative, talking about something, story. Do you have anything to talk about narrative paragraph? Do you have any example? Narrative paragraph. Have you visited any place in Thailand apart from Singapore?
Yes.
So can you narrate the story for us?
Or think about the story of maybe a famous like sportsman or football player, like how he became famous.
Mm-hmm.
When you explain the story, you start at the beginning, then you like build up, and then you have the turning point when he gets famous, and then like if he's famous right now, you can like maybe explain his career and then draw the line to the end of the paragraph.
Get that? Okay, so the next is persuasive. The persuasive paragraph tries to explain a particular point of view or understand the writer's position. Is the most important paragraph when building an argument. It often requires the collection of facts and research. What, Sebastian, do you have any point here about the persuasive paragraph?
Yeah, I think when you think of an author, for example, who writes a book about a political topic, for example, and you as a reader don't agree to his opinion, it's like good to write like some persuasive paragraphs to share your own opinion in a polite way.
Yeah, persuasively.
And the most important thing about the persuasive paragraph is to back it up with the facts. Because without the facts or arguments, the whole paragraph would be useless.
Wonderful. Okay, so the point is that there are types of paragraphs. There are so many types of paragraphs you can actually read, but the most important is to understand the type you are employing, the type you are using, the type you are applying in your own essay. Very, very important, because that will determine the kind of words and the terminologies you will use. Okay.
So that are the further types of paragraph. There are many more types, but I cannot mention them all.
Yeah, many. Compare and contrast. You know what that means? Compare and contrast.
It's, for example, if you have a point of view and a positive and negative points, and you want to see if it's worth it or not. For example, if you want to buy a new good, then you see the positive things and the negative things, and then you put a conclusion and say, okay, I will buy it or I will not buy it.
Wonderful. So, what do you have something to say about compare and contrast? Essay.
In an essay.
Compare and contrast. Whether it's an essay and a paragraph, whichever one.
Yeah.
What have you to say about compare and contrast?
I think it's also a very important type of paragraph because in an essay you often have to compare things. I would go like maybe more to a like scientific paper right now. Maybe if you are talking about like different plants from like the same family, and you have like one plant that has like red flowers and the other plant it has like white flowers, and then you can compare their different colors, their like specific needs or like their specific heights and maybe structure of the different plants, and you show the reader that like the two plants like might look similar, but you show the contrast, what is like the difference. We also can like show the contrast in like a political view, like Sebastian mentioned. When an author writes about a political topic, he can like take a more spot-on view on different political views and show the contrast between those.
Another example would be, for example, if you are writing about cities in Germany, so you have to compare and contrast. You call it Frankfurt, right?
Yes.
Is the city, right?
Yes.
And then
Compare
Berlin.
Frankfurt to Chiang Mai.
Frankfurt and Berlin. Berlin is a city, right?
Yes.
Frankfurt. Frankfurt and Berlin. You have to compare and contrast, meaning that they have something in common. That is compare. What they have in common. But then contrast is what they don't have in common, the difference. So you may, in that particular paragraph, try to compare and contrast.
Which city have you been in Thailand apart from Bangkok?
So Bangkok, obviously,
We also have been to Chiang Mai, to Pattaya.
So compare these three cities, Bangkok, Chiang Mai, and Pattaya.
Yeah, that would be like kind of easy, I think, because in Bangkok you have like, it's a big city with like over 17 million inhabitants, I guess. And Chiang Mai and Pattaya are more smaller, and the like square kilometer size is also smaller. You can also compare the nature around both cities, like Pattaya is like at the beach, at the coastline, while Chiang Mai is in the mountains surrounded by jungle, and Bangkok is like a metropole area, like an urban city.
So that's the contrast, because contrast means the difference, what they don't have in common. But what they have in common is compare. You get that? So have you been outside Bangkok here?
Yes, also.
So can you compare and contrast the city of Bangkok and which city have you traveled to?
Chiang Mai, Pattaya, Phuket.
Okay, can you compare Bangkok and Phuket?
Okay.
Compare means what they have in common.
Frankfurt has very much high towers.
In Bangkok?
Bangkok and Phuket?
Yes.
Okay, I think Bangkok has very much high towers, and Phuket doesn't have it.
So which means that is a contrast.
Contrast, right.
Then what do they have in common, which is compared?
In common, the nightlife is very similar, so it's there are so much tourists, and they are all partying all night. There's this in common.
Wonderful. So
much tourism.
Yeah. So was it in Bangkok or in Phuket?
Yes, it's a compare.
Compare. Okay, two of them. Okay, Sebastian, where have you traveled?
I was in Hong Kong last week, so I can compare Bangkok to Hong Kong.
Very good. Okay, compare. What they have in common? Compare.
I think if you think of Bangkok, you can say that everything is a little bit chaotic, and people are like more enjoying their lives more. If I think of Hong Kong, then everything is more organized, and the lives of the people are way more efficient, and I think this would be the biggest contrasts of both cities. As Chris said before, I think both cities are comparable in size. So Hong Kong is really big, Bangkok is really big, and they're both like big metropolitan areas.
And that would be a really good transition to our next slide, the cause and effect, because now we can look what causes the life in Hong Kong to be more efficient than in Bangkok.
Perfect.
So that would be like a really interesting transition sentence to get like to a new paragraph. And I think that's a really good example for you guys to understand the concept of paragraphs.
Perfect. That is well said. Okay, so cause and effect, as you said, and then just as you said, something caused something, and then that's why something happened. Do we have any example of any cause and effect? Do you have any word in your mind, whether in Germany or in your experience in Asia? Something caused the other thing?
Yeah, I think we can maybe look at we had recently had flooding in Chiang Mai and heavy rain in Bangkok, and then we can look what causes the heavy rain. We first in Thailand it's rainy season right now, that would be a cause, and we can also look I think in 2024 we have the El Nino weather phenomenon. I think the winds different from normal years, so the weather, I think it's more extreme or can be more extreme, and that's what we experienced in Chiang Mai, flooding. And the effect of the new weather phenomenon would be the flooding. So it all connects to the cause of the flooding is all by the weather or by the change of the weather. And I think we don't have that much evidence, but in my opinion we could also link it to the climate change, because the climate change makes our weather more extreme.
Wonderful, wonderful. How about the idea of students in Asia? What they call, majority of them, they attend class late. But most of you from Europe, you're always on time. What would be the cause, and then what would be the effect? Do you have any example?
Well, I think because of that is because of the cultural differences. So I think German or general European people or residents grew up in another way than Thai people or Asian people, for example. So that would be cultural difference in the phase of growing up, and this leads to the fact that any daily behaviors, such as coming late, for example, manifests in the adult's life.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Any other example? Cause and effect?
I don't have the cause and effect, but in Germany, when you are late, you instantly get a punishment. And because of that, I think the Germans don't want to come too often too late.
Oh, okay. That is coming late goes with punishment. Okay, how about you? Do you have any
Differences?
cause and effect?
If you're talking about like the way he said that we are like this,
Do you have any example?
like even in our country we don't speak that much of English.
You don't use English?
Yeah, we don't.
Then what do you attend class early
Yeah,
enough?
we attend, but we don't use like we talk here too much English. Like if you go in Germany, they don't talk much English. But if you go in the we don't talk that much of English. So very rare sometimes. So there are so many.
So that's why you don't speak
Yeah.
English better.
Yeah.
So the cause is because you
Yeah.
don't
Yeah,
you speak your dialect. Okay. Wonderful. Let us not forget that we're talking also about paragraphs. So in every paragraph, for example, in the paragraph we're talking about compare and contrast. You just focus on that particular paragraph to compare two things, two variables. Then imagine the next paragraph, just as Christoph linked it, you talk about the cause and effect of a particular thing. And maybe that's what you want to talk in that particular paragraph. Then, Christopher, what do you mean by critic? Critic paragraph, right?
Yes, critic paragraph. I would jump back to Sebastian's example, politics. I think that's like a really good example for critique, because we have different parties, different politicians, different views, and like maybe one politician in his like paper or in his book, he can criticize the opinion of the other politician, because maybe he thinks the other one is not right, or like his arguments or facts doesn't make sense. So you can also use a paragraph to criticize other, or to like put your own view against another view.
Wonderful. So that what it's trying to say is that maybe the paragraph, this particular paragraph is about looking at the opposite side, dissenting view, and then being critical about what is happening, and then you are concentrating about that and that particular paragraph. Maybe the next paragraph might be supporting what the idea, the topic is all about, but the next paragraph might be criticizing what you have supported, or the idea the writer may have raised, which is not acceptable based on one or two things. So then that particular paragraph might be for criticism. For example, if you're writing an academic paper, you cannot be talking only about the appraisal, about the good aspect and about the wonderful aspect. To make it an academic, it's expected that there should be a particular paragraph dedicated to make a critique of what you have been supporting. So thank you for that. That is wonderful. So the next one is
Personal narrative.
personal narrative. What do you mean by that?
Like personal narrative is when like the writer walks us through his own like view or own sight, or maybe his own experience. Like if I start now talking about maybe how I visited Chiang Mai, and I tell you my own view, like how I walked through the streets or tried different foods, and like I give you my personal view, like from the writer's side back to the reader.
Well explained. Thank you very much. Let's see the next slide.
Sure.
Importance of paragraph. Logic. Organize ideas and thoughts logically. Perfect. And there's no way we can put it. Without a paragraph, I wonder who will read your paper or who will read your work.
Yeah.
I mean, because it will not be interesting. Because paragraph will enable you to reason coherently. So that is why I use the word logic. When you use paragraph, it will enable you to organize your ideas and thoughts logically. Understanding the writer. Of course, with the paragraph, your essay or whatever you are writing, or whether you are sending a letter, writing, or whichever form of writing you are using, paragraph enables your submission to be well understood clearly. So it helps readers to follow the flow of ideas and get into a conclusion. That's what paragraph does. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're breaking down information, correct, just like example we say. We talk about the good teacher. We mentioned 3 qualities or 2 qualities. So in each paragraph, you'll be able to explain them in detail. So break down complex information in manageable chunks. Correct. Because you say a good teacher is this, a good teacher is that. How do we know? You need to prove, you need to explain, you need to let us know. That's what the paragraph will help you do. Structure. Then connect different topics within a paper. Correct. Because you're talking about a good teacher as the topic. Then paragraph will enable you to explain all that you want to say about a good teacher. Okay, so that is it. I really forgot I could control it from here.
Okay.
Okay, so common problems. This is wonderful. Another example. No clear topic or focus point. If you don't have no clear topic or focus point, oh sorry, who will take you serious? Then paragraph is too long. When it's too long, I don't know if it's still a paragraph. So you should be able to know how to separate them. Let's say you have a paragraph of 3 pages.
Sure.
I mean, it's too long, I mean, to something else. So paragraph is supposed to be at least half a page or quarter, depending on the point. If you want to explain further, then you use it in another paragraph. That's sub paragraph. You need to put it in another paragraph. You must organize your thoughts and ideas, as we earlier said. So it's to be a problem if you have a long paragraph. First page, second page, the paragraph is still controlled. No, it's no longer. So you're very correct. Paragraph shouldn't be too long. Paragraph shouldn't be too short, of course. You can't just make a statement and say it's a paragraph. Yeah, it should be, but when your essay is just like only 1 sentence or 2 sentences, I mean, so thank you very much for mentioning all these common problems. Okay, that is thank you for me. So, general question, any other question for you? What do you understand?
No, you already give the all definition about whatever we want to give us. We are clear about what is, how to write paragraph, what are the titles, how you that's it. We understand now.
So, I think you have asked your question. Have you asked your own question? What was the next question? Okay, so in conclusion, what was the question? Did you ask him already?
Yeah, I think you already explained it very well.
but you didn't ask him.
Yeah,
Can you read out the question in case if you want to elaborate on it?
the question was what makes a paragraph easy to understand and clear.
Okay, he said, what makes a paragraph easy to understand and clear?
Yes, so we can get back to the structure.
Mm.
So I think that's like the most important thing, that you like stick on the structure, because if you don't stick on the structure, the reader will easily get confused, and you cannot make your point without the structure. Also, the framework makes the paragraph easier to understand. That's why I put it here. Like, if you stick to that framework, make your point, back it up with evidence, explain the evidence or the facts you just provided, and then link it to the next, the paragraph should be easy to understand for all the readers. And yeah, I think that's it.
Is that clear? Okay, now let me ask all of you a question. In an essay, I want to talk about a good teacher, and I have 3 qualities. How many paragraphs will this essay be? How many paragraphs? In an essay, let me repeat. In an essay, I'm writing about a good teacher, and I mention 3 qualities of a good teacher. So how many paragraphs, at least from a little short essay, and not a big essay, so you don't get confused. In this very short essay, how many paragraphs do I suppose to, since I have 3 qualities of a good teacher, how many, given from what he presented, even just this one is a framework, how many paragraphs?
So I would say there are 3 paragraphs for the arguments for every quality, but you will add 1 paragraph for the introduction and you will add 1 paragraph for the conclusion.
So how many paragraphs?
In total there are 5 paragraphs.
Wonderful. Please, can you clap for him?
I would agree to that, yes.
Yeah.
I would have said like 4 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can include the conclusion. It's really good. I didn't thought about this at first. I would also say like 4 is the minimum, because you have to explain what is even a good teacher. Then you give the 3 arguments, and then you like have a paragraph for each argument, where you can explain the argument in a more deeper way.
Which means it should be 5 from what you gave us here: points, evidence, explanation, and link.
Yes.
So that is why I asked the question, because if I have an essay of 3 qualities mentioned already in the introductory paragraph or a topic sentence, as you said, it means that the introductory paragraph is already 1 paragraph, right? When you introduced and proclaimed the essay, 1 paragraph. Then I will now use 3 other paragraphs to explain the qualities, as he said. I will explain the first quality in 1 paragraph, another quality in another paragraph, and another quality in the following paragraph. Then I will conclude it, which is a different paragraph. So that becomes 5. Because if we follow this framework, which is perfect and exemplary, meaning that you introduce your work, you now give evidence and explain, and then conclude. So 5 paragraphs. Wonderful. Okay, so any other question from any other person? So you're good to go.
I don't have more questions.
Okay, so what's the difference between essay and paragraph? Do you know?
Yeah, I think an essay is like the whole text, and an essay contains of like many paragraphs that all link to a like overall topic. Like you have the heading of your essay, and all the paragraphs that are inside your essay will like contribute to answer the question or the heading of your essay. So like the paragraph is like the tiniest structure of an essay.
Okay, do you agree with that? What is your own point? Can you explain from your own point of view the difference between essay and paragraph?
Yes, if you look more into detail, then you have the paragraph, and the paragraph is included in your essay. So you have with introduction, arguments, and the conclusion, and then yes, we have a good essay to read for the reader. Yes, that's it.
Okay. Sebastian, can you give us the explanation or your own understanding of the difference between an essay and a paragraph?
Yes, I think Christoph made it clear before. So paragraphs are included in essays, and the whole number of paragraphs build an essay. So if you write an essay, you typically read or write different paragraphs which add to an essay.
Okay, wonderful. So how about you? What can you tell us about the difference between paragraph and an essay?
Paragraph, like there is one topic. In essay also there is a topic, but we need to just write about the topic that we need it. Paragraph we need to describe all aspect that I have.
I'm not getting what you're saying. Can you repeat again?
Essays, there is one topic you give us. Like research also like paragraph. Something you research something. That also there is a paragraph.
So what's the difference between essay and a paragraph?
Essay have like you should last time.
Because when he was explaining, you were busy with your phone. When he was explaining, you were busy with your phone. When he was explaining, you are busy with your phone. Now you don't get the answer. Tell us, because you were busy with your phone, you weren't listening. Because three of them, they made a powerful submission and they explained it clearly. And now you are battling to understand it because you weren't listening when they were talking. So tell us, what is the difference between an essay and a paragraph?
Paragraph we already covered that we have a conclusion, we have a one introduction that we need to describe all the aspects.
What is the difference between an essay and a paragraph? You have to be serious with your studies. You have been here busy with your phone, playing on your phone, and they were here giving us wonderful ideas, and you were listening. And now I ask you, you cannot get it. Please, Professor, can you explain again for him if he could listen?
Okay, sure. I will just start over again with a quick explanation of the definition. A paragraph is a short part of text consisting of at least one sentence at the beginning of a new line. It usually deals with a single event, description, idea, or like topic or focus point. So we have a paragraph that explains the point you made, like what is a good teacher? A good teacher, and then you list like a few qualities of a good teacher, and every quality of a good teacher is a whole paragraph. So you have to explain each quality in a new paragraph, and then you put all the paragraphs together and give it like a structure and maybe a heading, and then you can have an essay about how a good teacher is formed, or how or the different qualities of a good teacher. And if you put all the paragraphs together, you get the whole essay. So the paragraph is the like tiny structure inside an essay. And as I said, this graphic, like each block is one paragraph, and you just stack all the paragraphs, all the blocks onto another, so you get the whole tower, the whole building. Like, just imagine one paragraph is one building block, and you stack them, and then you have the essay, the whole building.
You see that? Do you understand it now?
Now I think.
Now you understand? Let's hope you did. Can you explain it again, or if you think I want to hear how you will explain it.
The way he said that we need to write the qualities. If you writing about, we need to make it. If you make all of that, it will be became he said like.
That you're supposed to also know because you're students. Don't be a lazy one and then you have to sit up and study. Understand?
Yeah.
The entire work you are writing is an essay. but you will use paragraph to write it.
Right.
You get that?
Yeah, I get it.
The entire work is an essay where you're expressing your view. But while writing it, you use structure like paragraph in order to make it look responsible, look logical, so that people will understand that. You get that? Okay, so at this juncture, we are going to conclude the class as presented by Professor Christopher Doe. Is that Doe?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Christopher Doe is an international business administration student at SAM University, economic student at Goethe
Yes.
Goethe University, Frankfurt. So, in Frankfurt, is it in English? You study in English or in German?
Yeah, it's like half-half. We have different classes in German, but I think most of the economic classes are in English.
Wow. So if I want to study in English, I will go there.
Yes, but I think like if you want to study a full-time program in English, you have to do the master's courses, but they are like really famous in Germany. It's like a really good university, modern campus. It's
Wow.
well known and renowned. And,
I see.
you have to go. Maybe you can give us a lecture about paragraphs.
No, I think you have done it perfectly very well, and I don't know what to give again. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you,
Professor.
Thank you. You're
Thank
welcome. Thank you. Okay, can you give a round of applause for him? Okay, thank you.